Good morning and welcome COS1511 C++ students, and welcome to our Zoom, I'm calling it Fun with Functions session. I believe we have a few students out here. Is that you, Salman? Salman? Hello, Salman.
Hello, Prinavin. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Salman. Very well, thank you. Where are you calling me from, Salman?
I'm calling from Bryanston, Johannesburg.
Great. Welcome to the class, Salman. Thank you for joining us. Salman, just a quick question. Are you busy with assignment 2?
Yes, I am.
And tell me, have you completed it?
I'm stuck on last two questions. Busy with or struggling with few functions or concepts, but hopefully I will learn something new on the Zoom call today.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy for that, right? Salman, if you haven't learned anything new in this Zoom call for the next 45 to 50 minutes, I'll give you back your Zoom fee. How's that?
That will be great.
Okay, so we're taking up the challenge, right? Okay, so thank you, Salman. So for today's lesson, Salman, and for Mongi, thank you, Mongi. Mongi's from Soweto, and Mongi learned something today. Soweto stands for Southwest Township, right? So that's how it got its name, Soweto, Southwest Township. I hope that's a correct fact. And we have other students out here. So today's lesson is called Fun with Functions. I actually found that out from Big Bang, and they said, remember it used to be fun with flags, so mine is fun with functions. Now, in terms of what I'm doing today, I have some question and answer session with the students. And if you have a question for me, feel free to ask the question by either raising your hand or to type it in the chat box, right? I can see there is already a question for me. I think one of the questions I'd like to ask is, do you know that assignment 2 is due at the end of the month? And there's no extension. Salman, are you aware of that? There's no extension for assignment 2, Salman?
Yes, Monday, 11 p.m.
Yeah, right. So, and don't wait for the last moment, please, Salman, because sometimes Unisa's server may be down. Yeah. I beg your pardon, Salman?
Yes, I think it's 31st.
Yes.
I think it's Tuesday.
Yes. So don't wait for the last moment, Salman, because the server may be down or something like that could happen. And in South Africa, there could be load shedding. God forbid it doesn't happen right now. So I have the lights up there, all right? So please submit it ASAP. Right, so let's see. So any other questions from the students? Anyone? Mongi, do you have a student? Miriam, welcome. Right. So in terms of my UNISA group, it's group 7E. I'm going to log into that very quickly, and I have a couple of. Let me just log in there. Let me do. Salman, are you able to see my screen? I'm sharing UNISA.
Yes, I'm able to see it.
Okay, great. So my students, I have a couple of quizzes that I've created for you guys, and I'd appreciate it if you could go through them. All right. In fact, there's 65 questions that I have from lesson 1 to lesson 7. I'd like you all to work on that, please, group 7, because it'll help you towards the revision for the examinations. All the questions come from the study guide, and there's a championship round. There's a question out there, championship round. There's it opened on Friday, 27th of May at 10:43. It will close on the 30th of June. Wow, I already have 3 attempts. Let me have a look at this. Samuel Philip de Klerk. And let me see how much did he get. 88.28%. Excellent, Samuel. You can be excused from today's lesson. Salman, what do you think of that? My students are tops, huh?
Very good.
Farhad, Sali.
No, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. I'll be honest.
Oh, is that Samuel?
I'm disappointed. Good morning, everyone. I did some stupid mistakes. No, I should have got 100% for that thing. It wasn't difficult.
Great. Listen, Samuel, you can do it again, Samuel. I'm here to assist you, and I want you to and work on timing as well now, Samuel. You got to make that 31 minutes, 13 seconds, bring it down a little. Okay, Samuel. So thank you for joining me, Samuel. I'm so happy that you are here, and I'm so happy that you are the champion. You're the reigning champion at 31 minutes. And Farhad Sali is also a champion at 34 minutes, 95.62%. Excellent. By the way, Samuel, I took all the questions from lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I just added them up together.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was a bit stupid. Yeah, I made a few silly mistakes.
Don't say that. You're not stupid. You're clever. You are my student. You are studying programming. You're studying C++. Not everybody understands programming. Not everybody understands, especially C++ programming. All right. So well done to you, and well done to everybody else that is going to attempt this. Okay, so I'd like you all to do that. And also, I'd like you to access, now that Samuel, you realized I took questions from previous lessons, believe it or not, Samuel, I also have a feeling that we as lecturers, we don't like to work hard, we work smart. And one of the ways of working smart is just like you saw that I took questions from the previous lessons, you may have a past year examination paper that repeats questions as well. So Samuel, if you go to the past year link on our group, you click on the 2021 exam paper. Salman, I hope you can see the 2021 paper.
Yes, I can see.
Samuel, I don't have the 2022 paper as yet, okay? Oh, you got my joke. I'm so happy that I have a sense of humor. My wife always says that she never married me for my sense of humor. She could never, get me, but that's another story for another day. So if you look at the past year paper, I can tell you and guarantee you that functions are in there. Let me see if I can find a function. Not that I've had a look at this paper before, but you will see that in this examination paper, they mention variable diagram. They mention, let me see, where's this, right? Look at this, average is equal to calc average trait. Function is called in the main function. Aha, write a function header. Will someone, I think someone's playing as background music out there, right? Okay, I allowed you all to keep your mics on, either mute or unmute, but if you don't mind, would you mute your mic, please? So let's look at question 8. It says, Samuel, can you check it out? It says, write a function for the function check. Salman, right? Write a function header for the function mult. And they have some variable, and they have a function call. Now, if you look at assignment 2, if you understand all the concepts in assignment 2 and you're able to get 100% on your own, I guarantee you, if this was in the exam, you'd be able to answer that, all right? Let's look at the void function. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about the return function. I spoke about the void function. I spoke about parameter passing. Oh, okay, we haven't come to a two-dimensional array, so I won't talk about that now, right? So I'm going to say goodbye to that one. So let's see what I was supposed to do for today. By the way, this is a Wakelet page. Salman, have you used Wakelet before?
No.
No. Aha! So already, Salman, I'm not going to give you back your money because you've learned something new in the Zoom session, right? You've learned about Wakelet. And this takes a few minutes to create it. So this helps me in order to create my lesson plan. Every week there's a lesson plan and I have it on Wakelet. So if you go to my homepage on Wakelet, Salman, I've got resources for you as a student. Let me find the C++ resources. Right, there we go. There's my C++ resources. And every week when I had a Zoom session, I stored all my stuff on there. So if you want to look at past lessons, Salman, can you see I've got Zoom session 21 May. Oh, I was still having fun with functions. So Salman, if you go and you click on this, you'll actually learn about the area function and the volume function and what I spoke about parameter passing. All right. Now, if you click on it, you'll go to the YouTube channel. And would you like me to do that, Salman? Would you like me to go there quickly?
Please, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, sure. I love that. Let me go straight to my YouTube channel. I think if I can click on that, it won't take you straight away, but you go and look for me on YouTube. Okay, look for me on YouTube, and I've got over 100 videos on C++. So Salman, are you able to see my video list?
Yes, okay.
All right, Salman, if you look at it, it says something about programming. Let me see, where's that? Where's my programming? I'm just showing up now. I've got a whole lot. Look at that, video, C++ videos.
Yes.
Right? And this was my, that's me, right? So I've got a little video and I'm welcoming you. How else should I welcome you with a YouTube video? And believe it or not, if you watch my little videos, I've got important concepts that are out there. Like for instance, strings. I know I would have liked to have introduced this to you way earlier, but it only appears in lesson 7 or 8, somewhere around there, right? So you can watch that. And Salman, you are watching this. I know you're not in my group. I'd just like you to click on the like button, all right? And just increase my views over there, Salman. Okay.
No, yes, yes.
Thank you, Salman.
I'll go to your YouTube channel. Thanks.
And you'll increase the likes, all right? So thank you for that.
Yes.
So there's resources. If you missed, I know this is your first time out here, but you can always go and watch all my other videos to help you to pass the exam. No extra charge, no extra cost. It's free because sharing is caring and caring is, see, you missed my last lecture, is sharing. All right, Salman? Okay, so I've done that. Let me go back to what else I'm going to show you. If you go back to my list, my Wakelet page, I've got the past year paper, so don't ask me where it is. There we go. You click on this link, it will be able to download. I've also got more past year papers for you if you go, Salman, to the Google Drive and you access it. And I even have some solutions, but shh, don't tell anybody, right? We don't give out solutions. Okay. I'm joking, man. It's a recording, right? There we go. I've got an important point about assignment 2. Please submit it. I've got other tutorial letters as well. And there was some issue about assignment 4, the flight booking system. Ma'am has changed that around. So now we're working on assignment 2. So let's now delve straight into assignment 2. Let me go to my Adobe page and I'm going to look at it. So if I look at assignment 2, the important thing that I like to mention, Salman, can you see that? Oh my, Salman, it says 16th of May.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Don't get stressed out, right?
Yes.
It's 31st of May. Can you see it says contribution weight to the year mark? Please don't ignore this. 20%, Salman, 20%. So if you got 100% in this paper or this assignment 2, you're actually getting 20 marks basically towards your course mark. And that would make the difference between a 48, 49 and a pass mark of 50, or the 73, 74 and a pass mark with a distinction of over 75. Now, Salman, I've worked on these aspects of functions and I've spoken about them. And again, Salman, I don't answer exam questions or assignment questions, right? But I will help you towards that, right? I will help you towards it. Because as a programmer, Samuel will agree with this, you have to struggle a little to get it. And it's so lovely when you have that aha moment of working on your own to find out what's going on. All right. This question about finding the errors in the program, this will appear. Now, just to quickly recap, you get syntax errors, logical errors, and you get runtime errors. You can think about which aspect of an error that they're talking about out here. Are they mentioning something about the syntax? Are they talking about running the program itself? And this question always comes up. Will you be allowed to use the compiler in the exam? Now, I've been doing programming and C++ tutoring for a number of years. We never allowed you to have use the compiler. And I don't think that's going to happen again, all right? So I expect you to be able to answer a question without a compiler. Right. Yes, is that a question? No. All right. So I'm not going to answer this question because by me explaining to you what a function is, you'd be able to work out what errors there are. And I know students will share each other's results and all of that, but or the answers, but don't do that, right? Work on your own. Work on your own for now. Let's look at this. Can you see it says void the product? Now, if you don't understand what void means, you won't be able to answer this question. That's my take on it. A void function is simply a non-returning function. And I have an example with this in my demonstration today. But for now, Salman, a void function is technically not supposed to be returning a value. All right. Salman, if I may ask, I know you told me you're working on the assignment 2. What other types of functions do we get, Salman? I already told you about one here.
Yeah.
While I have a sip of coffee.
Yeah. Is main a function?
You can call that a function. Yes, yes, main is a function. But I want a type, a type. Like I said, this type of function, is a void function. Technically speaking, it's not supposed to be returning something. I gave you the clue there.
Yeah.
A void function does not return. What other type of function you get? The opposite of a void would be a. Come on, Salman. I'm recording this. Let's see how good a teacher I am. A void function is one that does not return. The opposite of does not return.
Returning.
Thank you. Who was that? Who was that?
Mangenzi.
I beg your pardon?
My name is Mangenzi.
Mangenzi. Hello, Mangenzi. Hey, you beat Salman to the thing. Mangenzi, where are you calling me from?
I'm from Davidson, Benoni.
Whoa, Davidson, Benoni. Hey, I taught out there in Benoni, William Hill Secondary, somewhere in Actonville or around.
Oh, I know it.
Oh, okay, but not now. Many years ago, right? Many years ago. So welcome and thank you for that. Salman, she beat you to it. See, you get a void function that technically does not return something, but we can tweak it a little to return, and you get another type of function, which is a return. And you could have picked that up from what I said. Void does not return, a return gives you back a value to the main function. So that's what they're kind of testing you out here. Let's look at this function. Last week, if you were in my Zoom session, I actually did the cube with you. So if you go and look at my last week's video, Salman, you'll on YouTube, after you increase the rate by the view by 1 more, you'd also be able to check out how I work the cube. Well, actually, I didn't do the cube, I did the square. So 5 squared is 25, but 5 cubed is 125. And if you check the video, you'll see how easy it is to transform that, to change the way you think as a square into the way you think of it as a cube. Now that's called accommodation and adaptation. There was a psychologist by the name of Piaget that spoke about, how people think and learn. And again, I'll teach you psychology at no extra cost, right? Not that you're being paid for or charging for this, right? Okay, Salman, so don't think that all this is free. All right, Mangiesi as well from Davidson, Benoni. All right, so there we go. And then this question is about strings. And I also did the last question, the variable declaration, and I did a variable diagram. So if you look at my video of 2 weeks ago, we spoke about variable diagrams. And I guarantee you, Salman, if you want to take another bet with me, Salman, I'm telling you now, tracing through a program must appear in the 2022 examination paper. And I'll take a bet with anybody, anyone out here. If variable diagrams does not appear, what should I do? Salman, what bet should I take? I'm not a betting man. I don't like to gamble, and I only gamble and bet things that I'm. Salman, anybody? What bet should I take? I say that variable diagrams or tracing through a program must appear in the 2022 exam paper.
I'm sure it will definitely appear.
I'm sure too. And Salman, you know how sure I am, Salman? If it does not appear, I will refund you your UNISA fees. How's that, Salman?
That's good, but I'm sure it will. That's why you said.
I told you I don't take a bet, I don't win, right? I've been in education for 25 plus years, and all my bets are things that I can win, right? Yeah. Now let's look at this question deals with area and volume. So I've been doing my homework, and I don't want to read this question out to you because all of you should have read this question. You must remember I am zooming in. Literally zooming in on one aspect of your UNISA studies. Before you come to class, or before you come to the Zoom fun with functions, you should have read through your question. So I'm going to take it for granted that you've done your reading on what is volume and area and all that goes with it, and what is this loop story that we're talking about. But let's just say, for instance, you haven't done that, and you realize that you need to learn about loops, you need to learn about area, you need to learn about assigning, you need to learn about functions. There's a lovely resource on the web. Salman, I'm not sure if you checked out this resource, w3schools.com.
No. Also.
No. Salman,
another thing.
You've got something else that you picked up from me today. You've learned about this thing called Wakelet. You've learned about last week's fun with functions and the area, and now I'm giving you another resource, the W3 Schools. So you can go through this at your leisure. And let me tell you, Salman, how I became a teacher and a tutor and a lecturer. I went and learned about all these resources from the net as well. All right? So you can go through them at your leisure, and it's recorded, so you can do that. But for now, I'm going to jump straight into my code blocks. So I'm going to look at my code blocks. Now, again, Salman, you missed out on last week's lesson where I spoke about area of a circle. And guess what I did last week? Last week, I had it in a Word document, right? Now, Salman, I know you're going to tell me, but sir, we are doing area of rectangle. Salman?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. But if you learn about the way area of a circle operates, I'm sure you'll be able to transfer that knowledge into area of or volume of
Rectangle.
Yeah, now you're getting with me. See, we're on the same wavelength. You're getting to the grooves of things, right? Now, believe it or not, Salman, I know you think that I worked very hard and I did this area of a circle, right?
Yeah,
Salman.
I'm sure you must have. I'm sure you must
No.
have worked
I
hard
work
too.
smart. I don't work hard, right? I don't work hard. Okay. So guess what I did? I went to my best friend. You know who's my best friend? Salman.
Google is your best friend.
How did you know that, Salman?
It's everyone's best friend.
Yeah, because yes, everyone's best friend. So if I want to know about or find out about area of a circle, I go type of area of circle, C-I-R-C-I-R-C-L-E in C++ programming. I just thought I'll write that out, right? Type it out. Hey, look at that, Salman. What do you think of that, Salman?
Sure.
Check it out.
It gives you almost
Right,
everything.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you thought I was really knowing all my work and I knew it for myself, Salman. No, I actually asked my best friend, right? So it's out here, somewhere out here, right? You can find it. Now, this is another resource. And believe it or not, Salman, I'll let you in on a little secret. When I started studying, there was no such thing as the internet.
Yes.
Salman, can you see how old I am, Salman? Well, apart from my hair, you know, right? Okay, so you all have another resource to look at. Right, so let's go and look at my, program. So in this program that I have, that I'm talking about, and again, I'm doing a demonstration. I'm basically talking you through how this program operates in terms of some of the syntax and how I'm accessing it, and that goes with the rest, so that I'm assisting you to answer the question on area and volume, and to answer the question on syntax of functions, what are errors in a function, and how you find out all of that goes with. Because I don't know what's coming out in the 2022 examination paper. Okay, I can guess, but I don't know, right? So now you think I don't know. So let's look at this, the program. And I'll talk to you about strategy in general about any program. Basically, Salman, any program has at least, you know, they must have an input statement, it must have some processing that takes place, and it must have some output that's going on, right? And now and then we'll store a variable or two. And that's what you'll find in a basic program. It's like in a motor car. right? You must have basic things like 4 wheels, a steering, an engine, a battery. You get it to say that that's a car. So the same thing happens with any program that we have. Now, we could have written the program without having functions in there. But because my lesson is fun with Salman,
Functions.
are you paying attention?
Functions.
Yeah, fun. We're having fun with functions. So in this one, we're going to have a function in there. Now, a function, if you want to think about it, is just a mini, teeny, weeny program that does basically, it should be doing just one thing alone, right? Salman, you'd understand with this. We guys, we can't multitask. We do one thing and we are one thing alone and we do it right. So if I look at the way I've structured this program, it dealt with this question, asking it over and over and over again. And that aspect deals with a loop. Now, can you see the for loop is something that you need to know to answer this question in assignment 2, because they want you to do this a number of times. So let's look at what the question says now. Right? So this, I'm always going to take you to the question. It says the main function should include a for loop that allows the user to repeat the calculations of the volume for new input values 5 times. Salman, did you read that?
Yes, I did
Right.
read this question.
Right, so can you see now that gave me the clue that I need to have a loop. Well, they tell me as well, all right? But again, I'll talk to you about programming. There's assignment statement that goes with it. Oh, Samuel will agree with me because he did my quiz. There's iteration, meaning it goes over and over and over. And we have something called selection, where we go and make a choice. It's like life as well, Salman. Again, I'll talk about it in general. We have choices to make. We can either be a good person or a bad person. Again, philosophy at no extra charge, right? We can do something over and over and over again. We have choices to make all the time. If I am thirsty, like, I'm thirsty now, I'm talking so long, then I will drink coffee. Okay, I want to keep awake as well, Salman. Got it now.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, see how lovely remote teaching and learning. I'm sitting in my dining room right now and I am talking to you. So you can't fault me for having a cup of coffee. If I was in a lecture theater, it would be a different story. Okay, Salman, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. You got no say in the matter. I'm the boss over here. There's a power struggle. Okay, so this is what happens. But when you are strategizing as a programmer, you make sure that you do it well for the first time round, and then you include the loop. Okay, so that's another strategy that I'm giving to you. And Salman, don't worry, I know what I'm talking about, Salman. I've got lots of white pieces of paper, qualifications, certifications, and I even studied towards what are some of the strategies that a programmer can use to answer a question. All right, can I show off a little bit, Salman?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I got a PhD, and my PhD was in IT programming, teaching and learning IT programming, right? So that's where I'm coming from. So I know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's my loop out here. Before you do that loop, you should have done it running once, well and good. Again, if I had time, look at it, it's already 12:30, and I don't like to use all your data and your airtime. I know, Salman, you've got other modules to concentrate on. So I'm squeezing all of this into this Zoom session of 45 minutes. By the way, Salman, what other modules are you studying?
I'm also doing INF 1511, which is the Python or Visual Basic programming.
I like
1505.
Okay, what about Family 101?
Yes, that is also important. It's the most important
Family
module.
101. What about Job 102?
Yes, job takes most of my time.
There we go. All of you are like that. And I have the greatest respect for UNISA students because they are juggling family, work, and studies, right? So I'm trying to squeeze all of this into you and to give you the important points in this program. You need to go through all of this. For instance, in this for loop, I'm going to quickly talk to you about the syntax. There's a starting point. Every for loop has a starting point. Every for loop has an ending point. In my case, I'm ending at less than 2, so it only runs one time. Why I'm doing that? I got no time to test the program running, you know. Yeah. And I'm incrementing this I++. Samuel, you there, Samuel? You know, unmute quickly. Question for you, Samuel. I think this came out in the quiz, Samuel, I++.
Yes, it just increments about 1.
Oh, you gave the answer, Samuel. Okay, doesn't matter. I like the answer. That's fine. Thank you, Samuel, for answering. And well done. Right? Let's see if anybody can beat you on that score. Let's set the challenge and the bar for them, right? Not that we're challenging everybody, but nice to have some competition. Okay, so
sorry, sir.
Yes.
You said in the one quiz, you said there's a chance of winning airtime. Is that still on?
Yes. Hey, Samuel. Okay, Samuel. There is a chance. Yes, I'm going to do that. Last year I did that as well, and boy, oh boy, the students had got 100%, 100 Rand, 100 Rand airtime. Okay, Samuel, you got to be a South African resident. You got to have a South African cell phone. It must be either Vodacom, MTN, or cell. Oh, boy, that covers everything. Okay. 100%.
No, it's fine. I thought it was just like basically bait to let people do the quizzes.
No, it is. It is.
Okay.
Yes. No, it is. But let's see. Samuel, go ahead and do the quiz again. Let's see if you get 100%. And Samuel, if you have a prepaid phone number, very easy, over the internet. Do. All right?
Okay.
So there's my challenge to you. Right. Well done, Samuel. So in this program, can you see there's a loop? Now you won't use the loop immediately. It's always good to work out the program working on its own as running once only. So here's my input statement. Remember, Salman, I mentioned to you that any program has basically 3 aspects: input, processing, and output. So here's my input statement. And Samuel again will tell you that I mentioned have questions in the quiz about C out and C in there, right?
Yes.
So I'm
it's
requesting
interesting that the end line comes before the.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I can move it out. I can put it out there, right? I can put it there. That's okay. Thank you for that, right? I can put it in there, or I can take it out if you want, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way I'm writing it. That's all.
Okay.
Right. So let's go. All I'm talking here is the input. Here's my processing, and this is where a function call takes place. Area, circle, and I'm passing across a parameter. Now, the similar thing will happen in your question for the assignment. In your assignment, if I look at the assignment question, they are requesting from you to have a function called getData. And they want you to pass across height, width, and length. And they give you a question that says, in the sample output, the volume of a room with height, the size of the room. So that's a clue as to what is expected from you as a programmer, okay? So Salman, you are basically trying to answer someone's specification, some query that somebody had, whether you're writing a program or an app or, well, you know, in another language or so, but you are basically answering what they want. And it's always nice to start off with, what is it that the user wants? The user requirements, the user's thing. Because if you're not answering their question, then you might as well not be doing programming, right? Because the programmer's task is to basically satisfy the user's requirements. So you are analyzing the user's requirements. This user says, you need to input height, width, and length, and you must do some processing with those things, come up with volume, and you know mathematics, you just multiply each one, and you need to display the volume. And they also want you to make some decision. Some decision takes place in here. Something happens where you got to decide whether the room is small, medium, or large. And they tell you as well, if the room of the volume is less than 100, you can consider this room small. If the room size is between 100 and 500, then it is medium. More than 500, and it is large. I call this the Goldilocks question. Salman, I don't know if you have kids or nieces or nephews. Salman?
I've got nephews.
You've got nephews. Okay. So remember the Goldilocks story, right? Where the porridge was too hot or too cold or just right. So the same thing happens with a programming example. The room is too small, just right, or too large.
Yes.
And when you think of something like that, when Goldilocks has to make a choice, immediately you must start thinking about the if-else statement or the select case statement. So can you see how programming becomes, in a way, mechanical? When there's choices to be made, you've got to use the if-else or the if and the select statement. If there's something that needs to be done over and over and over again, question for you, Salman, what programming statement will you use?
For loop.
Thank you. Well done, Salman. Well done. By the way, anybody else wants to unmute and beat Salman to the draw, please do that, right? Let's say, yes.
So I was going to ask, is the only difference between for loop and while loop is the for loop, you can mention all the conditions in one line, where while loop you have to, like, mention like 3-4 lines of code. Is that the only difference between for and while loop?
Okay, thank you for that. Excellent question. And I know why you asked this question, Salman. You want to catch me out whether I'm qualified enough to tutor you, huh? And whether I know the for loop and the while loop, huh? Okay.
No, not at all.
No, I get it. No, Salman, I can also show off to say that I know what the for loop is and a while loop is, right? Can you see how difficult it is to be a teacher? You get one bright spark in the class that asks these questions. Now, if I do not know the answer, Salman, I will go to my W3 schools. Quickly, I'll go there, and here's the talk about the while loop
and for loop, yeah.
And the for loop. So let me just answer your question, Salman. The while loop loops through a block of code as long as a defined condition is true. Am I clever? Salman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the for loop knows exactly how many times you want to loop through it. Salman, am I clever?
Yeah.
Salman, I can read.
Yeah.
You can read as well. But let me talk to you and tell you and just explain to you in English, simple, easy words, what the difference is between a for loop and a while loop. So, like I told you about Goldilocks needs to select which porridge she wants to have. So that'll be a situation of if statement. Or she could have used a select case. Hey, there's a select case. Somewhere will be a case statement. Switch, it's called a switch, right? Yes. When you are thinking about which loop to use, whether it's a while loop or a for loop, here's a simple rule of thumb. A for loop will run, if you say run 10 times, for I equals 1i less than 11, it will run 10 times. Whether you like it or not, it will go 10 times. But a while loop is dependent upon a condition, and it will only run specified number of times. Okay. Now, I'll give you an example, like in the flight booking case, where you have to validate the responses. And you can go back to one of my old, it's not old, it's like a couple of weeks Zoom session. We validated the response. That is where you'll need a while loop to use, because someone can get the answer right in the first try, the second try, or maybe the 10th try. We don't know when they'll validate it as such. But for this assignment, they're not answering you, asking you to validate a response, so you are okay, right? Like I said, time is of the essence. It's already 12:43, and I've got to go through this question, and I also got to give you some time to work on Family 101, Job 101, and to answer the other questions as well, right, Salman? So thank you for that question.
Thank you very much. That was a very good explanation. It makes a lot of sense.
Right. So do you want your money back for this free Zoom fun with functions? No. Right, fine. Right. Okay, so let's go on. So now I'm going to actually jump to this program here. I have this program and I'm going to run this program. Right? I hope you can't see. Oops, I don't want you to run that program. I want you to hold and run. Ah, no, man, no. Why isn't it doing that? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to close that project. Right. Samuel, close your eyes now. Don't see this one. This is the answer to this. Ha 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 ha. Samuel, do you see what's on screen? Samuel. I mean, not Samuel.
Sorry?
Salman.
Sorry?
Salman. Sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. I was supposed to see both of you with the S. S for Samuel, S for Salman. Samuel, have you completed assignment 2, Salman?
Yes, I have answered this question, but not. I haven't got it. The last option. Sorry, the last not function where it's asking for the for loop. I'm just stuck there.
Oh, okay. Is that Samuel? Is that Samuel on the line?
No, this is Salman.
Salman. Okay, Salman. Hey, like Salman Khan. I don't know if you know who Salman Khan. You better know.
My surname is Khan. Yes.
Oh my goodness! I hope I'm not talking to that Bollywood star.
No, I wouldn't be on this class if I was.
You never know. You never know. I've had some famous. Akil, are you around? Akil? Oh, Akil's not here. Akil flies attack helicopters. All right. Okay. So, Salman, I hope I've given you an idea of how to tackle that for loop story with my previous one, right? So if you watch this video again, you pause it and you look at the way that for loop is, and I mentioned to you how you need to run that loop, you see what's going on, right? So here's it. It says enter the height with length. Let's say it's 10. I like to use, 10 easy words, numbers, 10 and a length of 10. So I know 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000. Right, so the volume is 1,000 and the size is large. So this is basically how they want you to answer this question, all right? So Salman, can you see I've done my homework? Before I came to this lesson, I did my prep. So that's what they expect of you in this question. Now, I don't share assignment answers and all of that. So I don't want you to think that I would do that, but I'm just giving you an idea of how to tackle it. And also Salman Khan, now that I know your surname, famous Bollywood actor, that I expect something similar to this if I was a marker. I'm not a marker, but I'm your e-tutor, all right? So that's what they want you to do it. And
Can I
this,
ask something quickly, sir?
I beg your pardon, yes, who's come there? Come on.
It's Parky.
Parky,
Yes.
hello Parky, how are you Parky?
I'm good, how are you, sir?
Very well, Parky, yes.
When it comes to submission of assignments,
Yes.
is it preferable that we submit the actual code blocks file, or we paste that code on a Word document or something?
Okay.
Because I actually heard that they don't actually run the code; they just look at the code and look at the screenshots.
Okay, Parky, I have to be honest with you. I haven't marked this module. I've marked other modules in the past. And I can tell you now there's over 1,800 students that are registered for COS1511. So I don't think that the markers would have time to basically run your code for every single one. But this is how you should be submitting it. So what you do, Parky, is you copy your code. Oops, I shouldn't be doing it with this one. You say quickly, you say edit. Like how you copy and paste, you copy it, you open up Microsoft Word, and you paste it in there, right? Let's open up a new document quickly. I'm going to quickly paste it. Oopsie, Control V. Ah, there we go. There's all the answers out there, right? I pasted it out there. And for the output, what you do, Parky, is on the top left-hand corner, you click once. You go to the option called Select All, and you go back out there and you click on the left-hand side, Parky, and you say copy. And now when you go to your screen, you say Control V, and there's the output, right? And Parky, you know what you do? You leave that way it says process return execution time 98.8110 seconds. You know why, Parky? You're kind of showing the marker that, you've run this program, it works, right? I'm just personally, it's my opinion, this is how it goes. What do you say to that, Parky? Does that help you?
it does help, but I'm still wondering. So it's not necessary to include actually a picture of a screenshot.
You
Yeah,
could
I've
do
been-
that.
I've been
Oh,
adding
that'll be cool
screenshots.
as well. Yes, yes, I know that'll be cool as well. So I'm going to do a screenshot. You can do that as well. Let me do my snip, right? A snipping tool. By the way, ma'am has instructions about this, right? So there's my, I can do this. Did you see that snipping tool? Again, copy and paste, and you put it in.
Yes, that's the one I usually use.
Right? You could use that as well, right? Control B, right? There we go. There we go. Right? I feel that that would be an excellent way to submit your work, because if I was a marker, I'd look at the output and then I'll go and check the code. Okay, like I said, there's 1,800 of you to mark, and I don't know whether they'll have time to actually go and copy and paste all the code into code blocks. But it's nice if you have that, because generally when I mark, I actually take the code, copy it, and I paste it into the compiler and I run it. But then if there's mistakes in there, then I start correcting it. Oh boy, it takes a hell of a long time to mark. It's a very good question to pose in the group, and let's see what ma'am has to say. All right. Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Parky,
sir.
for that. I hope I've answered it and I've given you some explanation as to what you need to do.
No, you definitely have. Thank you so much, sir.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for that question. And I'm so glad I don't have to pay you back the free Zoom fun with functions. That was a joke, Parky. Okay.
I'm actually laughing.
Oh, you're laughing. Oh, you're laughing inside. Okay. Right. So again, I've done the question. I've worked it out. You will need to have some input in there. I'm going to quickly show it, go through it. You need to calculate the volume, call up a function. And what I would advise is to look at my program that I have in Wakelet on area. So I'm going to show it to you. I actually have it out there. I'll post it in the chat. I think I copied and pasted it. Oops, not that one. Right, so you can look at it. See how lucky you are, Parky. You don't have to take any notes whatsoever. Everything is done for you. Where is my today's lesson? Today's lesson is, let's go home again. Oh, there we go. It's right here. I'm so sorry. So I've actually had this program on area of circle. There's it, area of circle. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about what a constant does. Salman Khan, you see, you missed out on that Zoom session,
Yes.
right? What constant does? There's a 3.14. How do I find an area of a circle? Again, I spoke about functions and the parameter, float, radius p. This is a parameter that's passed across. Can you see I multiplied using the formula for the area of circle, which is pi r squared. But in computers, we can't say pi r squared. You got to say what the value is, you multiply it. So there's one function of area of circle. You can think of how you calculate the area of a rectangle. Now, remember I spoke to you about a return versus a void function. This is a return function. And you know how I know that, Salman Khan? Guess how I know that? Because it has the word return in there. Yes. Can you see how easy programming is? People complain it's so difficult. All I'm doing is I'm reading from the screen, right? It's returning a value. And if I have the word void in there, void tells me that I'm not giving out a value. Oh, like look at this. Here's a void function. It so happened that I have a void function right now. I'm taking across a parameter, area, and circumference into that. I'm working it out, the room size. Oh my, this looks like the answer to the assignment question. Oh, I better go quick, please, right? And I'm displaying it in the function itself. All right. So I'm should take that out. And there's Salman, there's your for loop. If you wanted this to run 5 times, you got to change this to be less than 6. You see how you got to think less than 6 because you want it to include 5, right? There's some logic there, right? And that's how it's done with the area of a circle. So if you took last week's lesson and the week before, where I spoke about functions, the void function, the return function, passing across a parameter, Akil was there. He'll remember where I had the ampersand. You missed that, Salman Khan. Ampersand. Ampersand is that symbol that looks like a little ant thingy.
Yes.
That tells you what kind of parameter it is, right? Whether it's a reference parameter or a value parameter, right? And the word reference parameter, they talk about referring to a parameter, referring to a variable. All right, I'm going to pause there. I've got 6 minutes more for any questions or queries. Anyone can answer, right? I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'll put this in the chat, this link, so you don't have to copy anything down. Not that any of y'all were copying. I don't know if y'all are taking down the screen. My students in class, they take photos with their cell phones. How times have changed. All right. So anyone with a question? Anybody with a question?
Sir.
Yes.
For this module, do they actually give out marks for comments?
Right. Let me tell you about what a comment statement is. Our Parky again is trying to catch me out whether I know what's comments or not. Comment statements, and if Samuel is still there, he'll verify that it's one of the questions in the quiz. Comment statements are ignored by the compiler. They are ignored, meaning they are there to make the program a little more readable for you, the user, or for someone else who's looking at the program and trying to gather or comprehend what's going on in it. So if it's ignored by the compiler, Parky, what do you think the marker will do, Parky?
Why I'm actually asking, sir, is because I previously studied at CUT, and
yes,
my lecturer there gave out marks for is it code readability or something like that? It explains the code and everything for every function or every method you do. If you left a block of comments, then you'd get maybe say 1% or more, something.
Okay, that's a good point, right? I hear you, but that was CUT, Cape University of Technology. This is the University of South Africa, right? Now you have, like, I'm from Durban University of Technology, or you'll have University of Cape Town. It all depends what the marker or the examiner would state. But as a programmer, if I'm marking it, in my opinion, number one should be that the program works. It compiles, it gives you the output that it wanted you to give, right? We're supposed to. In my view, comments, because they're ignored by the compiler, and sometimes you can have such a meaningful variable name, Parky, that you don't need a comment. For example, if I looked at my programs, I had area of circle. Now, do I need to put a comment that says this is the area of a circle? I don't think so.
No, you don't.
Right? So I hope that's the way you take it in terms of answering the question. And again, because they're not, in my view, not compiling this, you don't need to really concentrate on that. Make sure that you get the logic of the program working. So if they ask you for the volume of the room, don't go and calculate the area of circle and put it there. All right, Palki? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So they are, I'm glad you're laughing. See, I do have a sense of humor. My wife will have to agree now with Palki that I made you laugh. Right. So, right. Okay. It's now 2 minutes to 1. Do I have any more questions? You can please stay on the line. I'll stop the recording just now, and then we can have I know some of you don't like to be recorded because I don't want to be famous on YouTube, because lots of other groups will listen to this, and even the staff, so we don't want to do that, right? Any other questions, or I'll stop the recording? Can I stop it? All right, and I'll stop the recording.
One more question.
Yes, Paki. Sure.
I read one question where it says you don't have to give the code or output. So when the question says that, how do we do we actually just take the code and paste it there, or what? Because it says not necessary to give out the code or.
Okay, that's a nice point, right? So when I was doing my dissertation, one of my staff members said, if your supervisor says, type it on pink paper, type it on pink paper, right? So that stuck with me for a long time. If the examiner or the marker or the lecturer says, It's not necessary. Listen to the words. It is not necessary to submit. And you feel you have some time and you got some paper to print and data to submit it. I say do it, right? Because when I'm marking as an examiner or a lecturer or a moderator, and I'm looking to give you marks to pass or to give you a distinction, I can only give you a mark if you have something written out there. Think about it, Paki. Paki,
Yeah,
think about it.
definitely. It
You
makes sense.
understand
It
where I'm getting?
definitely
Makes sense. So I'm not saying don't
Yes.
put the code in. I'm not saying put the code in, but wink, wink, right? Okay. So that's the way I'll answer that question.
Okay,
Now,
thank you, sir.
sometimes they don't want you to give you the entire program. I know that appears in some questions as well. They just want the function. So just answer that question. In the exam, you have 2 hours or so to write the exam. You don't have time to give the whole program. They just want snippets of code, like maybe just the function or the function header, or they want you to work out what will be the output of the program. In that instance, if you only give the output Paki, right? If it was 10 lines of working out and you only give the output, and let's say, for instance, God forbid you got it wrong, you lose all the marks. But Paki, if you went and did separately each little working out and you had those answers, intermediary answers, and you somehow or the other slipped up and got it wrong at the end, you will get part marks, right? I guarantee you that. I don't know of any lecturer, teacher, examiner, marker who would want to, deliberately not give students marks. We're not out to fail you. We're not out to fail you. We want you all to pass. That's the truth teacher and spirit and heart. Okay, Paki, does it answer you?
Yes, sir. I'm wondering again. If I submit an assignment but my code doesn't run, will they mark it? Well, I know they won't run it, but
all right, let's not be negative. How is that, Paki? From all the videos that I've given you, I've shown you, you should be able to get a program that works. That I can think. You should work towards it.
Yeah.
Don't think the glass is half empty. The glass is half full. All right.
why I'm asking is, from where I started studying IT, they didn't mark a program that doesn't run. Like if it doesn't run, it's at an automatic 0.
Okay, no, I don't do that, right? I don't do that. But that's a good point to ask the UNISA staff, the lecturer, right? If the program doesn't run. But if you look at the way assignment 2 has been, let me just go to assignment 2 now, right? I'm looking at assignment 2. They're not asking you for the entire program in questions 1, 2, 3, 4, right? They're asking you for snippets of code. They're asking you for what's wrong with it. At the end, they're asking you for, okay, the volume and the pizza example. Again, it's write a function. They don't want the whole thing. They want to write a function void that will answer this. So in the exam, Paki, you're going to be sitting with similar dilemma of whether to give you the entire program or answer just the function. And the mark scheme will tell you how much you need to put in out there. And again, we don't expect you to have a working program of the flight booking system in 1 hour or 2 hours for that matter, right? Paki, why do we have Microsoft version 1, version 2, version 3, Windows 1, Windows 2 patch? Why, Paki? Talk to me. Does the Windows version work at the first go?
Does it what?
Paki, you asked me if your program works, will they mark it and how it works, things. In the software industry, when they release an update, that's because there was a bug in the previous update. Okay, Paki?
Yes, true. Yes, true.
So
Yes, sir.
we're not perfect. We're not expecting perfection for you. Perfection, leave that up to the Almighty. Just get your program working at least, all right? And you
Okay,
show
sir.
the marker that you understand the concepts of a function with a void in it, or you understand the concepts that a program that needs to be run 5 times will use a for loop. Salman Khan, they won't use a while loop. But you can tweak the while loop to answer it 5 times, but that's another story, right? So that's what they're looking for, all right? And again, if you leave out a terminating semicolon or you forget it, you know, this, I call it 66 and 99 quotes. You put a single quote, not a double quote, or /T, /N, you forget that, they're not going to mark you down. I don't think we that hard and fast as a rule, okay? Because you are
Okay, sir.
handwriting out the code, right? And Parky, the past is the past. What happened at CUT, put that in the past, right? Okay, Parky?
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. Listen, it's 1:05. I don't like to go more than an hour because it takes time to upload, download, watch the video and all of that. Psychologically, people only have their attention for about 25-30 minutes. Hopefully, I try to keep you all for an hour or two. Hour. I'm going to stop the recording, and I have 1 or 2 students that asked for queries offline, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, Salman Khan, for the interactive session that we had. Thank you, Parky, for all the questions. Thank you, Samuel, for the championship, and we'll look into that airtime story, right? All right, so stay on the line. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll have a chat online after this. But thank you.